Hello, welcome to this Joyful Living series. There is so much complaint about not being understood, and this has to do with the kinds of comments and feedback that people receive, but more importantly, about how they are communicated. Young people feel that most of the feedback they often receive are nothing but condemnation, while the elderly believe that they are doing their best to advise and guide the youth. It's not just about young people. Couples and colleagues have difficulties communicating their feelings about their attitudes or work relations with one another. Stay with me to the end of this video to learn the simple reasons people misunderstand feedback and the most effective ways to give and receive them. In his letter to the Ephesians, Paul emphasized the importance of teaching, guiding, correcting, and building up the people of God as a vital aspect of growth. More importantly, he emphasized that speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in every way into Him who is the head, into Christ. So it is not just about what is said, but also how it is said. Let me share you a few things you need to observe to make your comments and feedback more effective and useful. Number one, build trust. People need a good foundation of mutual trust to be able to engage in honest feedback. Trust is important. When someone believes that you love him and cares about his interests, it will be easier for the person to accept your feedback. In this case, previous experiences help to evaluate the authenticity of the person giving the feedback. If what you have said to the person in the past was helpful, that experience might help the person to believe that you are really a good person with his or her interests at heart. Number two, be descriptive rather than evaluative. For feedback to be effective, it must focus on actions or behavior rather than on the person. This point resounds the claim that one single action does not define a person. It is easier to accept feedback that concentrates on a particular action and how it affected people rather than one that is evaluative of the person. If someone tells you that the manner you spoke during an event is way too much, or that you dominated the conversation, giving others little space to express their opinion, it is different from saying that you are dominant and talkative. A person could have dominated a conversation for many reasons that do not generally make him or her a talkative or a dominant person. Feedbacks that are judgmental of a person often lead to anger and rejection. But when it is descriptive of an action or behavior in a given situation, it will be easier for the person to isolate the action and work on the given feedback. 3. Focus on the interest of the receiver. Feedback must serve the good of the receiver rather than that of the sender. It does not pay to give feedback as a way of letting people know that you know it all, or to talk people down. The real reason we give feedback is to offer help. So the very moment you realize that your feedback is not primarily to offer assistance, but to satisfy something in you, then it is time to stop and think again. Number 4, manner of communication. The communication process is as important as the message communicated. How we pass the message, the tone, facial expression, and everything that is involved in the passing on of the message determine how it will be received, because they transmit the non-verbal messages that show the person if we actually care or not. True feedback must demonstrate the desire to help and not to hurt or belittle someone. Heed the advice of Paul, who wrote in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 14. Let all that you do be done in love. Number 5, the right time. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 knows that there is time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. And Proverbs chapter 15, verse 23 has it that it is wonderful to say the right thing at the right time. That includes giving advice or feedback. It is not every time that you run into a person that you should start up any kind of discussion. Check the disposition of the person for the kind of thing you want to say. Taking a person's disposition into account before attempting to give feedback is an intelligent step to take. You also need to plan your speech. Choose a more relaxed manner to begin and gradually develop the topic, especially if you want to discuss something that might sound negative. Number 6, make your comments specific and applicable. The goal of feedback is to bring a change or progress. That implies that what you have to say needs to be specific and could at least lead to something applicable in the present or in the future, a kind of learning process. People feel frustrated when reminded of their shortcoming that they can do nothing about or have no control over. Focus on specific things that were poorly executed that you think that could be done better, and explain how best they could be done. May you learn to communicate your feedback in such a way that it will positively contribute to the growth and betterment of those who receive them and endear you to them. Thanks for watching.